Welcome to Mayhem CEDH, where questionable decks meet questionable pilots. For this week, we have two quick games that really highlight how CEDH games either take 2 hours or 2 turns. With that being said, let's check out the pod today. First, we have Cody on Kykar Underworld Storm, a combo deck that seeks to use Kykar to storm off with Underworld Breach and end with a combo. Aiden on Kraum Thrasios Toothless, a mid-range list that seeks to leverage powerful card advantage engines combined with robust interaction to pull ahead and win with one of many combos. Randy on the Gitrog monster Frog, a combo deck that plays its commander, finds Dackmore Salvage, and wins through combo lines I don't fully understand. And finally, Craft on Sakashima Vial Smasher Dancing Dragon, a Grixis control deck that seeks to leverage powerful interaction to slow its opponents down and win with a dragon-themed combo finish. And now, with each pilot in their respective corner of the screen, let us begin. Cody draws and plays a Wooded Foothills. He cracks it, paying a life, and fetches up a volcanic island onto the battlefield. He casts a Lotus Petal. He casts Chrome Mox, imprinting Time Twister. He casts a turn 1 Wheel of Fortune. It resolves and everyone discards their hands and draws 7. Cody passes. Aiden draws and plays a Mana Confluence. Aiden passes. Randy draws and plays a Blooming Marsh for turn. He casts a Mana Vault. Randy passes. Craft draws and plays a Morphic Pool. He casts Brainstorm. He draws 3 and puts 2 back on top. He casts a Mox Opal. Craft passes. Cody draws and plays a Spectator Seeding for turn. Cody also passes. Aiden draws and plays a Llanowar Elves. They also pass. Randy draws and plays an Ancient Tomb. He taps it to help cast Priest of Titania. Randy passes. Craft draws and passes. Cody draws and plays a Marsh Flats. He cracks it, paying a life, and fetching up a Tundra onto the battlefield. He casts Smothering Tithe. In response, Aiden casts Force of Negation, exiling Tail's End. Smothering Tithe is countered, and Cody passes the turn. Aiden draws and casts a Priest of Titania of their own. Aiden passes. Randy draws and plays a Bazaar of Baghdad for turn. He casts his commander, the Gitrog monster. He activates Bazaar of Baghdad, drawing 2 and discarding 3. With one of the cards being a land, Gitrog triggers and Randy replaces the draw by dredging life from the loam. With one of the dredged cards being a land, Randy draws through Gitrog. He casts Green Sun Zenith, where X equals 3. He fetches up a Ramanamp Excavator onto the battlefield. He plays Overgrown Tomb from his graveyard into play untapped, paying 2 life. He casts Putrid Imp. It resolves, and Randy discards life from the loam through Putrid Imp. He discards Boseiju, who endures, through Putrid Imp, and replaces Gitrog's draw trigger by dredging life from the loam. With one of the dredged cards being a land, Randy draws. Randy passes the turn. Craft draws, sighs, moves to discard, and passes. Cody draws and plays a City of Brass for turn. He casts Ponder. He looks at the top 3, rearranges, and draws. Cody passes. Aiden draws and casts an Allosaurus Shepherd. They cast Toski, Bearer of Secrets. Aiden moves to combat and attacks Craft for 1. Craft takes it, and Aiden draws through Toski. Aiden passes. At the beginning of Randy's upkeep, with Gitrog's trigger on the stack, Randy discards life from the loam through Putrid Imp. Then, Randy sacrifices Overgrown Tomb, replacing Gitrog's draw trigger by dredging life from the loam. Randy draws and takes a damage from his Mana Vault. He activates Bazaar of Baghdad, replacing one of the draws by dredging Golgari Grave Troll. He draws and discards 3 cards. With a Gitrog trigger on the stack from dredging, he replaces the draw by dredging Golgari Grave Troll. He casts Imperial Seal. It resolves, and Randy fetches up a card onto the top of his library and loses 2 life. Randy plays a Marsh Flats. He cracks it, paying a life. Gitrog triggers, and in response, Cody casts Silence. Silence resolves, Randy draws through Gitrog and fetches up a Bayou onto the battlefield. He discards Dackmore Salvage through Putrid Imp. Gitrog triggers, and Randy replaces the draw by dredging Dackmore Salvage. Randy is presenting one of the many loops that the Gitrog monster can present. If you would like to know how this is going on, please consult the primer in the description below to learn more. With that being said, this loop allows Randy to sculpt his hand and end with his graveyard shuffled into his library due to the Eldrazi Titans. Randy passes. At the beginning of Craft's upkeep, Randy goes into another loop, again uncontested. This loop allows Randy to continue finding and casting Dark Ritual to generate infinite black mana. Then, Randy presents a similar loop, but with Crop Rotation and Gaia's Cradle to generate infinite green. With infinite mana, Randy presents another similar loop, but this time by casting Assassin's Trophy over and over, destroying all of his opponent's permanents but Toski, which is destroyed with Ulcerate. Kraft draws and plays a Mox Diamond. It enters and is sacrificed. Kraft passes. With all permanents destroyed, and with Randy able to win on his next turn, the table sees the writing on the wall, and Randy wins the game. Cody draws and plays a Mana Crypt. He plays a Tundra. He casts a turn 1 Rhystic Study. The table groans, and Cody passes. Aiden draws and plays an Ancient Tomb. They cast a Jeweled Lotus, paying for Cody's Rhystic. They cast a Mox Opal, paying for Cody's Rhystic. Aiden passes. Randy draws and plays a Misty Rainforest. He cracks it, paying a life and fetching up a Bayou onto the battlefield. He casts a Mana Vault, not paying for Cody's Rhystic. Randy passes. Kraft draws and plays a Mana Confluence for turn. Kraft passes. At the beginning of his upkeep, Cody wins his Mana Crypt trigger. He draws and puts a Hollowed Fountain into play untapped, paying 2 life. He casts Smothering Tithe. Smothering Tithe resolves, and Cody passes. Just a quick note, unless I say so, Cody's opponents are not paying for Smothering Tithe. Aiden draws and plays a Rejuvenating Springs for turn. They cast their commander, Kraum, Ludovic's Opus, paying for Cody's Rhystic. They move to combat and attack Cody for 4. Cody takes it, and Aiden passes. Randy draws and plays a City of Brass. He casts Assassin's Trophy, targeting Rhystic Study, not paying for Rhystic. In response, Cody casts Brainstorm, drawing 3 and putting 2 back on top. He casts Flusterstorm, with all copies targeting Assassin's Trophy. Aiden draws through Kraum, and in response, Kraft casts his own Flusterstorm, with each copy picking off Cody's copies. Cody's Flusterstorms are countered, Rhystic Study is destroyed, and Cody fetches up an island onto the battlefield. Randy passes. Kraft draws and casts a Soul Ring. He casts a Jeweled Lotus, and Aiden draws through Kraum. Kraft passes. Cody draws and casts Intuition, targeting Randy. He searches up a Brain Freeze, Savine's Reclamation, and Underworld Breach. Randy gives Cody Brain Freeze, and the rest go to Cody's graveyard. Cody casts Lion's Eye Diamond, and Aiden draws through Kraum. He cracks Lion's Eye Diamond to help flash back Savine's Reclamation, with both copies targeting Underworld Breach. It resolves, and Cody returns Underworld Breach to the battlefield. With Lion's Eye Diamond and Brain Freeze in his graveyard, Cody presents a loop of generating mana with Lion's Eye Diamond and refueling with Brain Freeze. With several ways to kill the table, including Goblin Bombardment to get around the pesky Shuffle Titans, the table sees the writing on the wall, and Cody wins the game. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to catch future videos, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.